All right, and we are back once again, this time for Aeternum versus Infinity. And we are going to be seeing a nurse mirror match on the Wrecker's Yard with Aeternum killing against Infinity's Survivor team. And I am joined here today by Hell's Taco Truck. How you doing today, friend?
I'm wonderful. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. I'm here having fun with the guilt himself, the Spire.
Happy to have you here, though. Probably a little bit happier than the Spirit is getting slammed with a pallet as Nancy now and Chase taking a hit, however, which will allow these survivors to know that the Spirit does in fact have a sloppy butcher. And a very quick for the people there, kind of out of nowhere. That tells me that that Nancy there is quite the important survivor.
Absolutely. Now, one of the things that I'm kind of interested to see how much time the survivor can waste at Fun Bus, but looks like it's cut short, and they're moving now on to a different tile, possibly hitting a looking for something as a filler tile, because that's not a safe place to be over at the L&T wall. Looks like they find something short, but in my experience, with very strong killers, filler tiles are never safe.
Yeah, I mean, really speaking, they're just there to kind of waste time, and maybe if you're able to mind game it just right, you're able to make it work. But a really strong start here by the Spirit, obviously getting a important survivor. We want to note that the Broken Size effect from for the people still applied to Kate, just now ending. Though they will be able to get healed in full without the worry of Sloppy Butcher, though. Deadlock coming to play, blocking that generator as the ace gets off just in the nick of time. And looks like the Spirit gonna be dropping off. Instead, going back to the hook to try and protect their initial hook here.
Absolutely. Now, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how they're going to play saving that Nancy. It's never a good idea. There are two sides to this. You can either go for the save, bring two people into it, or swap, or you could stick to your gens, try and finish as many as you can, let her go to the next stage, basically sacrificing the survivor for 3 to possibly 4 gens popping.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. We do want to note that we did see the Kate get healed here. There is a noise notification in the distance, potentially a life. Yeah, from the Kate coming in. This could potentially make it work. Kate going for it. Ada coming in, but the Nancy moving to second stage, just unable to coordinate the unhook in the nick of time. We do see Ada go out. Another gen done by the ace, though. These survivors going to be able to get 2 gens at the very least. And it looks like they are going to go for the taunt with the Nancy. And Nancy getting a little bit of distance there.
Oh, that's always rough. See, that's the worst situation you can be in. When you go for the 2-man save and the person goes into next stage already, you down another survivor. That survivor now has to be picked up. That's more time that you need to use, that you need to waste. And Nancy still dies, and you're now at 3 gens with only 3 survivors. Definitely a rough spot. In my opinion, I would have probably gone for the gens, because it's a rough situation to 2-man save unless you do it effectively every time. I've seen people like Eternal do it, and they do it perfectly. It's like a dance when they're doing it. They're just dancing around and they finally get it. But if you're not, I just tend to go for the gens. What about you, Guilt?
I mean, it really depends from scenario to scenario. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But with that being said, I mean, they almost got the Palisade there, just the survivor was a little bit too far into it. And so, I don't know. It can be really hard to miss. I think it depends on the scenario. This being the first trial, I think you're okay as a survivor being a little bit more risky, especially if you are confident in your killer's abilities.
That is a very good point, but a lot of these games can come down to like a single point. Like, I've seen entire games between like Eternal and PTR, Petroleum, go down to the wire to a point where it was because the killer couldn't get the last hook because the survivor was hidden, and that's why they lost. So it makes it interesting. That's what I love about comp is all of these little things, how you play at the start, from every survivor hiding to every little detail, making a big difference.
Oh yeah, without a doubt though, Ace going back into a bit of no man's land. There is a Z-Ball here, which as we know is the most powerful tile in the game, and Ace showing it just there as they're wasting a lot of time here against the Spirit.
Oh, it's always so much fun to watch someone use the Z-Wall effectively. Definitely a hard tile.
Yeah, no doubt about that. But with that being said, first look there on the Ace. 3 gens already completed, only 2 left, and that chase did last a hot minute. I'm thinking that, yeah, they have a gen that's pretty close and a blast mine to boot, making it so that the Spirit has no clue where these fires went, and if at the very least, will gain a little bit of distance as they do move further back into the map, though. Ada getting found out here, dropped the pallet early, and Spirit going for the phase walk, not looking to break it, and we do see the scratch marks here from the Ada, but there's another survivor, I want to say, further ahead of them that the Spirit may have not seen.
I don't know. It's kind of a rough situation, because if I'm a betting man, if I were a betting man, I would bet that Doc is healing Diamo, which means nobody's on the gen right now, which makes things a little bit more interesting, because if he finds them healing, that's pretty much it.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I mean, you're not wrong to say the least. And Spirit kind of on the prowl. We do see another vault there. Looks like a life from the Kate. And yeah, Spirit just saying, I cannot chase that. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Absolutely. So it's at this point, the Spirit, because he failed to find the other survivors, they're now healed. They're now healed, and now they can all spread out. If I were to guess, I would say it is at least going to be a one-man out.
I mean, it's starting to look like it more and more. Keep in mind, Deadlock is in play, so, you know, that will slow things down unless they have that gen in the far side, 99, which is a very real possibility. In fact, they're going to complete it, forcing the gen that the Spirit's been protecting to get Deadlocked instead. Kate going to be moving back towards the completed gens, and looks like they are going to try and play this pallet here. Spirit going for the 50-50. Kate saying, bring it. You know, down me here, and yeah, there's the Ace. Trying to be a little bit sneaky, but not sneaky enough.
I don't know why they keep doing that, because the Nancy did the same thing. I'm like, bro, just drop the pallet.
Well, it depends. You know, that can be a really smart strategic play. Waste some time, force the killer to think, what if, right? And so if it works out, and it can work out, it can definitely benefit the survivors. But I don't think it was going to give enough time to the Ada here to complete this generator, as we do see what looks to be a deliverance from the Kate. So on top of which, the killer really didn't gain a lot of pressure from that. You know, they got the hook, but survivors are going to be right back on gens.
That is a very good point, Gilt. Now, it kind of makes you wonder, had she dropped the pallet, stunned the Spirit, worked it out a little bit, would that gen have gotten finished, or would it still be just in kind of the same situation? So it's always interesting. Like I said, I always love seeing these situations, because all of these small details where Spirit is basically forgetting about these gens for like a brief second can mean the difference between final gen popping or winning the game.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And I want to note here, we still know what this 4th perk is. We have not seen it. We've seen Sloppy Butcher. We've seen Deadlock. We've seen Corrupt's Revenge, of course. I mean, that's a given. But this 4th perk still unknown. So we'll have to wait and see if it is an endgame perk. And if so, if it works out in favor of the Spirit. But this gen getting protected, but survivors just trying to sneak in, get a little progress at a time, force the Spirit to make a choice. And yeah, Spirit now having to go back to check this gen, and there it is. 5th gen completed, and a haste status effect. That, my friends, is a no-ed.
Ooh, he messed around and found out. That's what happened.
You're not wrong. We see Crows going back over here, which means their survivor is on this exit gate, or at least was nearby. Spirit figuring that out too, and trying to do a quick surveil of the area, but no sign of them. Could mean that the survivors are actually on the other exit gate. And Spirit going to make a mad dash over to it to see if that's the case, but no red light. Kate trying to get the no-ed, but not able to do so in time.
Oh! I'm sorry, that just, I thought she was gonna make it for a second, and she didn't, and oh my gosh, I always love those.
Yeah, it's always that situation. We do see the Ace get up. Ada trying to drag the Spirit further into a corner, but it's not going to give the Ace a lot of time. Spirit's phase walk coming back up and coming quick, meaning that he's going to need to do something and do something fast, though. Looks like they just tried to crouch it out to try and avoid the scratch marks, but the blood giving them away. It's going to be a 3-man slug here. Spirit not wanting to go for a swing. I think they could have gotten that. Instead, going for the 50-50. Ace, though, just holding their ground. And looks like Spirit is going to try and go for another mind game.
Oof, that's it.
Yeah, that is going to be the final down. I think we saw Unbreakable earlier, so no second chances for the Survivor team. That there will be the 4K at 5 gens completed. Honestly, a really good showing by both the Spirit as well as Survivors. We'll have to wait and see if Infinity Spirit is able to get a 4K even faster. But with that being said, we are going to see the cleanup crew come on through. And I actually have to check if the Survivors have any hooks that could potentially result in a situation where a bleed out would be beneficial one way or another.
That's definitely a very good point. Like I said, I was actually about to ask you, is like, if one of them bleeds out, how does that affect their points? And because, like I said, I mean, I've seen things come down to the absolute wire, and it's always, like I said, it makes it interesting in that aspect because there's strategy behind every little thing everyone does.
Yeah, no doubt. But yeah, the real one to find was absolutely the Ada. Kate thereafter being on their first hook, you know, missing out on 1 point if they would have bleed out, but it will not matter here as both are going to be sent back to the campfire via the entity. So a really great showing here in trial number 1 of set number 1. We're now going to be flipping sides where Infinity will be killing against Aeternum Survivor team. But with that being said, we are going to go on a quick break. But before we do, we do want to remind everyone here today that you, yes, you the viewers, are our sponsors. So all the ads that you watch, all the bits they tip, all the subs they buy, and of course all the Rogue Energy by using the code COTF. Go supporting Champion Fog and the prize pools for Group A and Group B. With that being said, we are going to be back in just a few moments. All right. And we are back for trial number 2, set number 1, Infinity versus Aeternum, where we see the Spirit kind of faking out their phase a little bit here and there, trying to see if these Survivors might go for a quick run. And we do see the grass and a quick hit here on the Ada. Really clean play, to say the least.
Oh, exactly. Now, you know, see, Gil, in my world, every time, and this is how I see it, I see that Spirit as peacocking. They're letting people know, hey, I'm coming. I'm flashing my feathers. Gotta let me fly.
I can see it. And for those of you watching on Twitch, you will want to know that the win condition here is a 4K before 5 gens. We do see the down underneath the pallet by the Ada, and we do see another Survivor kind of hanging around here towards the pallet, though. Spirit looking a bit more confident that I can get the pickup and the hook, though. I think that's a Survivor to their left.
Oh, you know he was expecting. It would have been amazing to have seen that hit, but yeah, it did not clear the pallet stun.
It did not. It was close, but no cigar. And we are going to see a hit here on the gen. That there is, in fact, a Pop Goes Weasel Survivor aware of 3 out of the 4 perks. The other one being Sloppy Butcher and, of course, Corruption Invention. The 4th one will be announced here shortly, I would imagine. And it's going to be an interesting one. I'm not sure how this is going to play out, as we're seeing this perk kind of pop up a little bit more here and there. but we'll have to wait and see if it gets value here.
Absolutely. Looks like we have Spirit looping around, searching for survivors in the area, kind of proxy camping. Now, this is going to come into a play where stealth, how good you are with both not only just being stealthy, but quick and speed. You want to get that survivor before she hits second stage, and you don't want to be seen, because if you're seen, that's basically wraps. And there's that.
Yeah, Kate trying to get in and get the unhook for free was not able to make that happen, though Spirit was unable to push Ada to the second stage as well, just barely missing it, I feel, if they were just a few seconds later. Our Spirit going for the tunnel out, trying to see if they can pull off the mind game here. Looks like the Ada does, in fact, get away and makes their way towards another tile.
Absolutely. Now, at this point, it's going to be it's going to be advantageous for in the situation if Ada can waste a ton of time. That means that they're going to be able to get people up. Gens are going to pop. As you see right now, this is just a very skilled Ada. She's wasting as much time. She knew she was going to go down. She goes through a window, walks away, or crawls away. And it's amazing to watch these survivors just basically know and think, like, how can I waste more time? And she's not even on death hook.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. At the end of the day, you know, Ada did a great job there managing their resources, bringing them farther away from the current gens being worked on. Though we'll have to wait and see if it was worth it, as we do see that this gen still does not have a lot of progress. A blast mine coming in, though, and looks like they will attempt for another kick.
Absolutely. Oh, there's something. What was that?
Yeah, that
what I
was
think
a scream from an ace that touched the gen. That there is, in fact, a dragon's grip.
That's great. You gotta love it.
Yeah, no, honestly, it's something that we're seeing a little bit more. It's one of those exposed perks that we kind of looked at and said, it doesn't really need to get general banned because it is very conditional, a short window of time for it to get usage. Now, speaking of short windows of time, that there was a decisive strike, which does get that stun for 3 seconds, though against the Spirit, it's not going to mean much. Ada, though, ending up underneath the pallet. This is actually huge if there is a survivor nearby. Let's see if they're actually able to get the pallet stun. There's the Kate, there's a stun!
Oh!
These survivors just able to coordinate. That's kind of what we were saying there in the first set, where if they're able to make that work, it can be a game-changing moment. And this Ada now over at Funbus is going to make the best use that they can of these tiles, baiting the Spirit as well, running to the next tile while the phase walk is on cooldown. 2 gens left. I mean, the win condition here for the survivors is to get just 1 escape, and if 1 gen remaining, it's looking more and more like that's going to happen here today.
Absolutely. We got a little bit of ring around the rosy. Oh man. You gotta love it when the survivors loop around a small object and still manage to waste time.
Yeah, no, honestly, just really, really good plays by both teams, and just Ada playing absolutely out of her mind this entire time. Spirit going back to this far back gen, thinking that someone's nearby. Sure enough, there is the Claudette. Looks like they're going to try and get a quick hit in, though, before this pop goes the Weasel. They have to think, though, that there's going to be a pretty significant chance that the other survivors are doubling up on a gen across the map.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be down. Oh, and it's going to come down to how fast the killer can find another survivor. And obviously, she finds Abs fairly fast. So, and it's kind of going to tilt things possibly into the killer situation, basically, where either they're going to have to pop the last gen, sacrifice the 1 survivor, or they're going to choose to save them. Now, I'm not sure. Maybe you can correct me, but I think they've already met the win condition.
Nope, so this right now is the tie condition. So as of right now, a 4K at 5 gens will result in a tie, as that was the result from last match, or last trial as well. So now it comes down to if a survivor can escape via the exit gate. If, in instance, they are able to do just that, that will secure victory here for the survivors. And there's the open exit gate. At this point, Spirit just trying to get as many points as possible in the case of a tiebreaker in set 3. But Ace seemingly disappearing into the ether.
Yeah, like I say, survivors sometimes it's like gas in the wind. You know that they were around, but you just smell them and you lose them.
Yep, and that there will be a 3-man out here for Aeternum's survivor team. All right, and we are back with set number 2, trial number 1, Aeternum versus Infinity. And we are going to be seeing Infinity's nurse against Aeternum's survivor team, coming hot off a less than ideal result in set number 1. With that being said, let's see if Infinity is able to rally back and potentially walk away victorious here in set 2, forcing a set number 3. That being said, we'll see in just a bit. What do you think, Taco? Is it possible?
I think anything's possible. I mean, mistakes can be made, but I mean, if I'm not mistaken here, maybe you can correct me, Guilt, but looks like we have a doc pretending to be a nurse.
It would appear that way, and I also want to point out something that I haven't seen in God knows how long. Spies from the Shadows just went off.
No shot.
And it's getting value, and that's the insane part. We're seeing exactly where that survivor is going. The nurse had no real loss in time by predicting where the survivor went, because the crows were giving them away right away. To say that this is the first time that we've seen spies from the Shadows, I think it's 7-8 seasons of Champs and Fog would be an understatement.
Oh, absolutely. It's been not many people use that. I mean, it's like I said, it's like seeing Psycho Menace bring Blood Warden in a competitive match. Like, you just never see it. You only see that one person bring it.
Yeah, exactly. It is quite unusual, to say the least. But with that being said, we know of now 3 perks throughout that entire process: Spies in the Shadows, Corruption Invention, and of course, Agitation, allowing the nurse to get to that hook just a little bit quicker. But with that being said, we are going to be kind of hanging around this hook. The nurse very confident where they are during this match and thinks that they can just get to the second stage, though we do see Ace kind of creeping on towards.
Yeah, like I said, these games are going to be very dangerous. I think you have to play a very certain way against a nurse. When you play against a good nurse, like, everybody has to be far away from the gen going on, opposite side of the map. If you save, you have to be stealthy. You can't, let them down you while that person's obviously hooked. It's definitely going to be fun to watch, because every down that you take, there should be at least one gen popping. At the very least, one gen should pop if you want to be successful in that game.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, though, as we see the Ada trying to come in, trying to get that unhook, but now being injured, that leaves just the Ace and the Kate. Now, they have completed gen about 15 seconds in, and looks like they are here. The Ace trying to block this off. Kate will, in fact, be able to get the block. Ace taking the hit, and looks like the Kate will now be able to body block for this Claudette as Nurse tries to make their way to get the tunnel out, and there it is. There's the down. Unless there's a decisive strike, Claudette will be sent back to Campfire via the entity.
No decisive strike there, but they do get what they're wanting out of it. They basically got the gens done. They got it down to 2. That means this game is still winnable. Now the other survivors are going to have to quickly try and heal each other, get each other fully set again. Then 2 people on a gen while the other guy is on the complete opposite side of the map, wasting time, going down calm corner. A lot of this is going to come down to how well they can effectively do that and how well they can heal without being seen. But it looks like Ace has already been seen, so looks like he's just going calm corner.
And it makes sense here. One of the biggest things that I say all the time about Nurse, it's like playing the Knight of DBD. If you know chess, you understand that the piece known as the Knight is not strong around the edges of the board. And so too is that true for the Nurse, as you're not able to blink through the barriers of the map. And it looks like Nurse here wanting to go for a bit more pressure, getting the hit here on the Ada, leaving the Ace kind of in that corner. And I mean, they know full well that the K can't go back for them as they're injured too, so makes a bit of sense in my opinion, as Ace is kind of just going to be chilling back here in comp corner.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So it's going to come down to now they're going to have to heal each other, try to get back up, try to get things going. They're fighting for control of the center, as you stated in chess. They're trying to get control to put things into their favor so it'll snowball out of control. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they choose to do, but it looks like it looks like the Crows are selling them out.
Yeah, the Nurse has spies hidden in the shadows, and the Crows are doing their job. We do see this gen with some decent progression. We're going to see this fourth perk here. Pop Goes the Weasel coming in, regressing that gen by 25% of its total progression. Do want to note that we do see the unhook as well on the Ace, meaning that there is 2 injured survivors, but Spies in the Shadows selling out the third here, trying to get back to this gen, and there's the gate.
And it looks like we have, if they down this Kate, I mean that's pretty much. Oh wait, no, they got the Ace, so it's kind of anyone's game right now. I was thinking if they downed the Kate before they got the Ace, I mean that was going to be the end of the game, but she was unable to do that. Now they're all reset. It's anyone's game.
Yeah, no, the Nurse was thinking about going back for the unhook, but then Spies from the Shadows did proc just in the nick of time, revealing where the Kate was. And so I think it kind of worked out in the Survivor's favor as they were given time to reset. Because at the end of the day, the biggest thing that we always preach when it comes to S tiers is not if you get a Survivor out of the match, it's how many gens you complete. And I think the name of the game here is 4 gens. If the Survivors can get this 4th gen done, I think they'll be in a really good spot, or at least setting their killer up in a really good spot here for trial number 4 of set 2, as we are going to be flipping sides shortly with Aeternum killing against Infinity Survivor 2.
Exactly. That's one of the things I preach all the time. It's not how good, it's not all just about how good your killer is. It's about how good your survivors are to set up your killer, because teams like Eternal, if you've ever, like, we've all seen Eternal play. What makes them immensely strong is each one of their survivors is a god level looper. Every single one of them can run, loop. They're like, it's all a fluid motion while they're going in, they're taking body hits, they're setting things up. They basically set their killer up for the easiest win possible. And that's what I love about watching them, is they're always tactful. They're always like planning it out. They're always setting things up. And it all starts with the survivors, not just the killer.
Oh yeah, 1000%. But with that being said, we see Ada kind of bringing the Nurse further out towards the corner. And looks like they will, in fact, get the hit. Then question is, will the Nurse pursue them further? Going towards edge map here, like we said, this is kind of the best place for the Survivor to be getting down, but there's a lot of progression on that gen over by Shaq. Nurse may be very confident that the Survivors will not be able to complete it, but I think if Ace and Kate jump on that, which I think is honestly the plan here, I think they should be able to complete that 4th gen and set themselves up for a good match of killing right after this. But Nurse kind of taking a look around, trying to see where these survivors might have gone on the gas oven, but just unable to find them.
I think you're right. If it were me, if I were a betting man, I would have all of my team trying to get that 1 gen done, because there it is. There it is. Then now they can 4K safely and have a semi-easy kill requirement.
I think the biggest thing here is that the killer's going to be able to kind of fine-tune their perks and really figure out, okay, what's going to work best to ensure that they don't get that 4th gen or don't get that 3rd gen. Because keep in mind, a tie here in set 2 will still force a set 3. They need to get 2 wins here in order to secure victory. So Aeternum is going to need to win here in set 2. But Nurse kind of misfiring there. One little known thing about the cars here, the red cars, is that Nurse can't blink through them right now. It is a bit of a bug and something to keep in mind when it comes to maps on, you know, Wrecker's Yard and Gas 7, etc. but Ace getting found out, taking a hit here at Shaq, trying to draw the nurse's attention. I do want to note that we saw the person on hook move to second stage, meaning that I don't think the survivors are intending to go for the unhook.
That's a very good point there, Guilt. I don't think they are. Honestly, if it were me, I would just try and get the last gen done, sacrifice the survivors, get the last gen done, set your killer up. Hopefully they get at least a 4K at 1. It's kind of like if it were me playing a game of chess, if I were going to set you up to do the best you can, I would try to make it as easy as possible for you, not trying to get everyone out, but to set you up for a win, to make it easier for you, so that way if at least we need to tie, you could bring in the perks to do so at the end of the match. There's a lot of tactic here, and that's what a lot of people take for granted, is the tact that comes into play in comp. Not just, hey, we need to get people out or 4K, it's can we set up our killer? Can I basically get all the gens done, make it easier for you? I almost guarantee that you're right. They're getting that last gen done right now.
Yeah, they're at least trying to. I mean, we see that gen on Hill just getting a lot of regression. We see that 1-for-1 trade there for the Ace as well. Ace kind of just sitting in the hitbox of the Nurse, trying to waste as much time as possible. Spies and Shadows going off, telling Nurse exactly where they've gone. And looks like they are on the edge map there, but Ace not getting a lot of distance, will get down. And the question is, where is the Kate? Depending on where they are and the time allotted, they might just be able to get something done here, but with this agitation, allowing the Nurse to drag the Ace back into the middle of the map, it's going to become a whole lot harder. Looks like Ace will be sent back to Campfire via the Entity, and Nurse kind of in a good position. They're able to see 2 gens from that one location. The only one that is kind of hidden there is in Shaq, but there's not a lot of progression here, so I'm starting to think that these survivors might be going for a hatch play instead. I think now's the time to kind of take a look and see what these X gates look like. We see one there behind that gen. The question is, where is the second one? Is it within line of sight of that hill?
That's a very good question, Gil. I'm not 100% sure what they're doing, because at this point, the view that I kind of saw where it was going kind of just went out the window. I'm not sure what their plan is. I don't see it, and it's kind of a first. Usually you could see a clear outline of what the survivors are kind of thinking, what they're doing, and at this point I'm kind of thinking they're just playing, just basically going with the flow.
Yeah, no, seriously, and I think that's kind of what we're seeing here. There's a possibility that we do see the Nurse try and slug out, and where these survivors might try and pull off some tech for the hatch, but we'll have to wait and see if that comes to fruition, as Nurse going for a potential quick double down here. Kate doubling back, though, and Nurse trying to predict, but unable to land this time through.
We got some confirmed teabags from Broken K.
But there it is.
There's the last gen. All right. I was hoping to see it.
I mean, it was a long while, but yeah, the gen in Shaq was pretty much fully regressed, and so I was not expecting to see it happen, but Ada able to get it done nonetheless, and we see her in chase now. Now, I'm not sure if he's seen Unbreakable, but with that being said, it could still be in play. If that is the case, they could potentially get an out here, and a dead hard to boot.
Oh my goodness. When do you see Dead Hard? That's like the VHS of the video world. You just never see it anymore. There's almost no point to having it.
Yeah, I mean, it's true, but against S tiers like Nurse, I mean, it can still prove very beneficial. We're seeing it kind of work out here as Ada able to extend this chase more and more. But the issue now in lies is to what end? You know, we're going to see the down here. I guess there's a possibility that Broken K might be able to hide and potentially go for a bleed out. And to be fair, that actually could work here. Kate has only been hooked once, meaning that if they do bleed out in the next 3 minutes or so, that will lose the Nurse 1 point. Instead of getting a full 24, it would be 23-10, which, you know, 1 point can swing a match in your favor very easily.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. That was one of the biggest things, right? Is hiding. And like a lot of these guys, when they were playing through this, were all speedy lads as they were running around, trying to get away from everybody, trying to set a patch. But now it's all just based on the bleed out. Now you just have to hide and just hope that you don't get found.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're not wrong. And with that being said, Nurse kind of taking a look around, trying to find where this survivor might be, going real nice and slow to take in the scenery, holding this blink here, though. And it looks like we're about 2 minutes into the lead out timer. Like I said, it's going to come down to this. I think this 1 point could make or break this trial here if the Nurse is unable to find the gate in time.
Absolutely. Now, I'm kind of wondering where they're at. What do you think? Where do you feel is the best place for them to hide?
I mean, so it's a little bit of a mind game, right? You know, Dead by Daylight, all about the mind games, all about the psychology. At the end of the day, when it comes down to it, you want to hide in either the most obvious location or the least obvious, but the Nurse going to the edge map, finding the Kate with just about a minute to spare, and that there will be the true 4K at 5 gens completed. But honestly, that 5th gen, I think, is going to be the determining factor. I think we're going to see that 5th gen be the make or break moment for this set here with Infinity versus Aeternum, as we're going to be seeing Aeternum kill very shortly against Infinity Survivor team as they will be piloting the Nurse. But with that being said, guys, really awesome Trial 3. Looking forward to the mirror match in Trial number 4. All right, and we are back for what could be the final trial of this match between Aeternum and Infinity. For if Aeternum gets a 4K at 4 gens completed or less, they will walk away victorious here in round 4 of Champions of the Fog Season 7. That being said, they found a survivor quite early, but like a bat out of hell, they dived behind that main building, and the Nurse is deciding that they want to find a different survivor to chase.
Yeah, that's exactly. Now, a lot of this is going to come down to how fast this Nurse can down someone. So him finding the trial is going to be a very big play. Can he down this survivor before a gen pops? That's going to be the going. That's going to be what's going to be the make or break on the situation. But it looks like Trial is just being a juicer. Someone like I would just say, you know, hey, he's handing out the Sunny D to this Nurse. Like here's some vitamin D. Take care. I'm gonna give you the juice.
Yeah, no, honestly, really well played. I'm pretty sure they also had Lucky Break to boot, so no scratch marks, no blood trail for the Nurse to track. And honestly, I'm seeing where Spies from the Shadow might be an actual pick on Nurse. Like, when we compare to like the last match where the Nurse didn't have to think when it came to chases like that, they just went, okay, cool, there's a crow, and that was it. Whereas Nurse here, they were able to lose that chase pretty quickly once they were able to get out of line of sight. But Meg taking that hit here. I want to note there is no perks revealed so far outside of Corrupt Intervention, though Meg will end up going down. So first down here at the start. And we'll have to wait and see, as Agitation will now be revealed to these survivors, as the Nurse is going to be just a little bit speedy as they're going to be dragged on in towards the middle of the map.
Yeah, see that there's too much time that went by for the first hook. If I'm a betting man, at least 1 or 2 gens are gonna pop. He needs to get the game going as a snowball. Things need to go starting getting out of control. Now he's gotten blind by a gen. There's at least 1 or 2 gens that should be popping within the next few seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. Those survivors here are going to be aware of the second perk, or rather the third perk being revealed here, which is going to be Overcharge. That gen is going to be regressing upwards of 200% over a period of time, not to mention the extremely difficult skill check that they'll get when they touch it for the first time thereafter.
That's exactly the what I'm looking at right now. Is he sees someone. Who does he see? Because him downing that survivor quickly is going to be crucial. But it looks like we have Nurse kind of looping around, searching between the tile. It looks like he's got what the kids these days call the Burger King tile.
Yeah, it's an interesting name for the tile to say the least, but Claudette taking a hit here. We do see the blink there from the nurse and getting the pallet drop in the nick of time. I think that the nurse had the right timing there, but Claudette getting the drop just on the right time. But we do see Deadlock popping off there as the first gen does get completed. So I believe that is now every single perk revealed. That is Overcharge, Agitation, Deadlock, and Corrupt Intervention. This gen here regressed pretty significantly, but as we said, the win condition here to avoid a set 3 is going to be a 4K at 4 gens or less. We'll have to wait and see if that is possible, as Nurse now going to be dragging the Survivor in towards the middle of the map, I imagine, to take a look and see what gens have or have not been worked on.
So it looks like we have a confirmed deadlock, as we saw that gen getting locked up. So I don't know if you've ever seen this, but getting things down to a point with 2 different gens where you could try to get them both at about 99% and seeing that comm team pop the gens at the exact same time, where the gen that gets locked, that was actually the next one to be finished, gets locked up as it was popped. It's always fun to watch.
Yeah, no, we have seen that on a rare occasion. We do see the Claudette here underneath the pallet. We do see the additional scratch marks, though, nearby. There she is. There's the Meg. A clean hit on the Meg, and I'm thinking that the Claudette left out to dry here, as they will be put on the hook for another time. But a 3rd gen completed now. Deadlock popping once again, but honestly, I don't know if it's doing all too much, as these survivors just absolutely demolishing these generators. The nurse now needs to get the 4K here before the next 2 gens are completed. Otherwise, we're going to be moving to a set 3.
Yeah, it looks like this nurse is having a little bit of a tough time. If I were them, I'd be trying to set up a 3 gen, try and protect it, hold it, and even if you slow burn those gens, if that nurse can get that 4K before that 4th last gen gets popped, I mean, it's still a win. But it's always like, it always comes down to the tactic they have. But it looks like we have this ace running towards the edge of the map. This nurse is wasting too much time. They lost the hook. There's a lot going on right now. I don't see them getting the 4K at the last gen. If I were a betting man, I would say that it's going to end up being a tie, or it's going to be in favor of the other team.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, but there it is, a 99 gen off the Deadlock. That is the 5th gen. That forces the tie set, which means we are going to a set number 3 on the Dead Dog Saloon, and we are going to be getting an interesting treat. So for those of you who pay attention to our announcements when it comes to the changelog, I do believe that we did ban the Cenobite for upcoming matches, though this one was already locked in. And the reason why that's relevant is we're seeing the Cenobite mirror match, so there's going to be some funky things going on, as Cenobite is kind of all over the place right now.
Yeah, it is. I always love watching people who are good at Cenobite. I don't know if you, like, the last time I watched it was Zakon Cenobite, and it was just box abuse the whole time, just constantly popping, and you're just like, oof, that looks like hell.
Yeah, to say the least, it can be without a doubt. But that being said, we are going to be moving to set 3 now. But before we do want to remind everyone here today that we are getting very close to hitting partner over on YouTube. So if you guys haven't already, please make sure to stop on by, say hi, hit that subscribe button, and the bell too. That way you can be notified when we upload our videos of not just Champs and Fog, but also the grand finals of Dead by Daylight Community Cup that we host here on this channel as well. We'll be back for those in July. But with that being said, guys, make sure to stop on by. Would be much appreciated. And we will see you soon for set number 3. All right, and we are back for the final trial, or rather, final set of this match. Trial number 5, Aeternum versus Infinity, and we are going to be seeing Aeternum's Cenobite versus Infinity's Survivor team. And this match is going to be kind of interesting, at least the set is, because Cenobite, as some of you may know, is a little bit buggy right now. And so after this, they are temp banned for the foreseeable future, whether that be to the box not spawning, chain hunt not working, chain hunt just sometimes happening randomly throughout the match. It's gonna be interesting. But the good news is both teams are running Cenobite, so they're both gonna get the same wild card that is this killer here today. But we'll have to wait and see. I'm excited nonetheless, and excited for some top-notch Cenobite gameplay.
I also am ready for some amazing Cenobite gameplay. I know these survivors are probably crying. Nobody likes playing against Cenobite on Dead Dogs. It's just a constant box hunt. Once he finds it, I mean, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's fair. And we do see Ada with it in hand. Seeing that the Nancy is now in chase is going to go for the solve makes a lot of sense, and that's the biggest thing to keep in mind is that you really do want to solve the box strategically at certain points, but we see the break there, noting that they do have the original sin as well as impaling wires here. Honestly, the most used add-ons for the Cenobite for obvious reason, though Nancy making a lot of distance here, moving back into the corrupted zone. Honestly, not a chase that I think the Cenobite wants to take.
No, not at all. It definitely is going to be... it's going to be interesting because she's holding this Cenobite in corrupt intervention territory, which means everybody else is on the other side, breaking 3 gens, getting things done, and we look at and sees like it looks like Nancy's caught at a long wall fillers here over at the oil or water tower. It's gonna be interesting to see how many gens get finished. None, apparently.
Yeah, so far none, though I imagine we're going to see a few pop off in just 1 second. However, survivors keenly aware of the existence of Scourge, about to be Scourge Hook, but also Sloppy Butcher and also Bamboozle. We saw that used in chase, so we know all 4 perks. So that's Scourge Hook, Pain Resonance, just regressed the most progressed gen by 25%. Sloppy Butcher going to be slowing down the heals, and of course Bamboozle being able to be used on the main building, which I think is the biggest thing that we start to see, especially with M1 115 killers here on Dead Dog, is the usage of Bamboozle to try and lock that building down when survivors do take chase there, though ideally you're never chasing a survivor there if you can help it.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Guildspire. Now the big thing here right now is, are they going to be able to finish? Are they going to be able to finish Gallows gen? Gallows is always a very dangerous place to be unless you have balanced landing. I've seen whole matches get lost at them trying to get that done. But it looks like right now they've broken the 3 gen. They have Gallows there. They have the other 2 on the opposite side. There's a little bit of distance, but it's still dangerous to have that 1 gen set there.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you want to know, no real 3 gen to speak of for Cenobite to really work with, so it's going to come down to how quickly they can get these downs. I think this is kind of the inverse of the nurse matches, where the nurse matches, it really came down to how many gens you were able to complete before the game ends, where I think this is kind of the inverse, where it's now how many survivors you can hook before they escape. You know, how many hook stages can you secure? So I think it makes sense for the Cenobite to be trying to progress everyone to 2nd stage where possible. But also keep in mind, the first hook is always going to be more valuable, not only because of Scourge Hook, Pain Resonance slowing down the match, but also it's 3 points per hook. So I think going for fresh hooks here is probably the name of the game, especially as we see the 4 people from the Clawda. I don't think this tunnel out on the Nancy is the play.
No, I don't think so either. I think they're trying to play this as an S tier killer, but they're playing that it's not the situation. They're giving up the whole game for 1 survivor to get them out. If it were me, I'd be all about getting everyone injured, use Sloppy Butcher, force them to heal each other, waste time, but instead it looks like this killer is just gonna go for the tunnel out, try to remove the player. At 2 gens, it could still be anyone's game. It's not gonna make the difference, I think, that he's looking for.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, like, normally you want to get a survivor out of the match so that way you can ensure that they do not complete gens, or at least not as quickly. But in this situation where there's 1 gen left, 3 survivors in the match, I just don't foresee it happening. And so, with that being said, we are going to see the Cenobite kind of look around for a box. I think they heard it, but it's not going to matter. Exit gates now powered, 5th gen completed. Yeah, I think the move was going to be go for the for the people, Claudette. She was broken, primed and ready to go down in a Scourge Hook to boot. I think that's the play, but Cenobite getting a little bit greedy, and I think paying for it here. They might end up with a 2K if they're able to get this ace here.
I mean, nobody has a hook on him besides, so it would definitely be advantageous to get this ace. But honestly, it's going to set the other Cenobite up for a really somewhat of an easier time here. But it looks like there's body block does not work.
Yeah, no, honestly, a little bit of a strange angle there, but was able to make it work. The Wayward Chain also getting hit on the Claudia. I was thinking maybe she was going to go back for the 40 people that we saw earlier, but was not able to make it work. Ada here as well, Chain Hunt in effect. So I think this is going to result in the 2K that we were looking at earlier, and looks like they're going to try and go for basements kind of closer to the exit gate, to be fair.
Oh, absolutely, but I don't know. He's risking a lot, because if that ace jumped off, that would have been it.
Yeah, would have been unfortunate to say the least, especially with that hatch opening just then and there. But with that being said, that is in fact the 2K for Aeternum's Cenobite, and we are going to be switching sides now with Infinity playing Cenobite as well. Their win condition going to be honestly, a 3K will secure it at the end of the day, as long as they just avoid 3 survivors exiting completely fresh or 2 survivors exiting completely fresh. I mean, that's going to be the win for the Cenobite, so we'll have to wait and see how they manage that. I think there's a lot of different variations and options as far as point totals are concerned. All right, and we are back. This time for the final trial of this match between Aeternum and Infinity. And Cenobite starting off things strong, finding the box and revealing the survivor locations, though. Do we only see one?
I think so.
The only thing I can think of is that everyone saw the box pickup and just jumped in the locker and said, yep, we're just going to not reveal our location, which honestly is a smart heads-up play, but like the fact that I only saw one snap reveal was just very disorienting, and I imagine it was too for the Cenobite. But with that being said, Chain Hunt has begun. Ada already with the box in hand. That was a very quick pickup, and yeah, looks like she is taking that all the way in the back of the corrupted zone.
This looks like it's going to be a rough run. We have Claudette holding the killer in a strong position right now. No hits have been done. Nothing's been hit. It's like it's been, you said earlier, Guildspire, it is this team's opportunity to lose, because not lose, but it's theirs to lose, because all they need to get is a 4K at what, 0? Or 4K at 1 gen?
Well, they don't even need a 4K for all intents and purposes. So doing the math on the back end, realistically speaking, the Cenobite from Aeternum got 12 points. Now, that can be matched at 12 points by fresh hooking every single survivor, getting a true 2K, as well as additional variations thereafter. But I want to point out that it will result in a true tie if that does happen, as looking back at the points from the previous sets, they are completely tied hand in hand. So a tie here in set 3 will result in a true tie between the two teams and no potential win or loss. Ace, though, upstairs, not dropping down. I thought maybe he might go in for a body block or something, but instead, Claudia going to be grabbed here out of the locker. And this here will be the first hook of this match. So this is going to be 3 out of those 12 points. Technically 13 points that they want to win in order to get there. We do see Ada and I think one other survivor sitting up there on Gallows. And that is going to be a Scourge Choke Pain Resonance, regressing the most progressed gen by 25%.
And there is the Blast Mine. Just buying even more time. It looks like it's going to be interesting to see, because now they got the main building gen done. They were trying to break the 3 gen, trying to do the same, but this killer is doing something a little bit different. Instead of camping, like he's camping, but he's camping in the 3 gen, and that's going to be a vast difference than what he had before, because what he had before was at the water tower and left them basically to break the 3 gen easily. Now he can guard it, he can protect the 3 gen. It might come down to a long, basically slow burn at the end, but he's going to make these survivors work and basically make them earn it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's exactly what I was thinking here. They're, regressing a gen up on Gallows. They're protecting the 3-gen. We see a gen pop off in the distance, though I think that may have been Water Wheel. No! It was the gen right over here. That's insane. I thought the Cenobite had the time necessary to just kind of chip away at that gen by sending over chains, but the Feng Min just able to get there. And now this kind of changes things. We're now seeing a bit more of a 2-2 split, no longer a true 3-gen. We're kind of now in that same position that we saw before.
Absolutely. So it's now it's fun to watch because we have our Cenobite holding in the middle. He's still got someone on the hook. Now he's getting another hit. He's injuring. We've seen Sloppy Butcher. We've seen he's putting it to use. He's hurting people. He's holding hook, making people trade. And I think honestly, he's gonna have a much better outcome than our last Cenobite.
Yep, and I would tend to agree. We already saw the second stage, so that's 5 points towards that 13-point total. There's another 8 points in their favor, 4 more away, and they pretty much have it. Honestly, where we saw last time where the tunnel out really wasn't the play, this time it is, and on top of which, finding the ace, getting hold all the while, but you end up slugging out the ace. You're still in chase with the Claudette here. Honestly, this is a really good snowball here for the Cenobite, and they're just going to be able to tunnel out the Claudette and reduce their resources, both in the amount of gens they're able to do, as well as, pallets, but looks like they do get a little bit of distance, but for what it's worth, it ain't going to mean much.
I was wondering if the Cenobite was going to hold, because I've seen in the 1v1s a lot of the best killers when they're at those filler tiles, they hold their red stain on the ground facing the survivor on the other side, and then they wait there for a little bit, going back and forth, and then they wait, and then they moonwalk and then whip around do a 180 and then swing through the pallet, getting them as they're dropping it on the opposite side. I was wondering if we were going to see that. We didn't get to see that, but it was still fun to watch them try to work that small filler tile.
And it still got them there in the long run, and so what we saw before, I believe, is about 9 points. This here is the 12. So they are now at the 12 points they needed in order to secure the tie condition. Any additional hooks and or progressions here after will result in a win for Infinity. So really strong position, great chain on the Ada, Impaling Wire coming into play, as well as the original Sin, which is applying the Deep Wound status effect. So any healing that they may have done prior does not mean much now. And we do see that early pallet drop trying to get a little bit of distance, but for what it's worth, a fake out at the window. Was thinking that they weren't going to be able to make it work, but Ada doing the best that they can to get some distance here.
And this is basically, we're waiting to watch the win come in at this point. If he downs that Ada, I mean, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, absolutely. And though Feng Min came in for the body block, ensuring the Ada did not go down, we do see them kind of trapped here at the water wheel. And I will say they're on the stronger side of the water wheel right now, but the fact that Cenobite's able to just throw a chain over and really slow things down is all that really matters. And Cenobite knows it too. They can kind of just sit here for however long they need, unless the Ada has an adrenaline, which I have to double check if that even is allowed on Cenobite. But not to mention that, they have Deep Wound. So I don't think there's really any way out of the situation. I think it's just a matter of time before the Cenobite gets the down here.
There it is. That is the end.
Oh.
Unless, Caster's Curse!
The flashlight from the ace out of nowhere. Ada, though, getting chained up really quick thereafter. Once again, applying that Deep Wound status effect. No shot for a adrenaline play. Ace here to try and take aggro, though. And so I'm wondering if that is a strategic move or what, or just trying to hold out for that flashlight save. And yeah, Ada's going up on the hook, whether or not the ace likes it or not.
That will be the win condition here for this team.
Yep, that there will secure. Just going to be double checking on that scorecard to say for certain, but yeah, that will do it here. It's going to be a 1-point difference at the very least. But we're going to see the results of this match unfold here in just one moment. We did see that box get solved off in the distance, but both both Ace and Fang currently still injured, and we do see scratch marks going over towards the hook. Ace kind of getting caught out here, chained up as well. Those impaling wires might get some value here, and there's the down.
Yeah, everything seems to be just snowballing in his favor. He knows there's the last gen. I think the other team know that they basically lost, and they're just kind of looking to end it.
Yep, last gen and last perk revealed. That there, my friends, is a Noed.
I always love seeing people bring Noed at the very end. It's kind of like you're planning for things to go bad, but you see the teams that don't bring it. They don't expect for things to go there, but I don't know. There's so much value that comes out of it, but to plan for every gen to be popped is kind of, I don't know. It's kind of feels to me like you're planning to fail.
On one hand, I agree with you. On the other hand, I can see in the sense of, let's say Cenobite just did not have a good match. They hooked maybe one, maybe two people, so they get too fresh. That's 6, right? And then Noed, though, well, that can secure those final 6 points for the true tie, or even potentially the win if they get a progression. So I think that is really where Noed comes into play. And so I can see why, especially as the final trial, they brought Noed here.
Absolutely. But it's been wonderful to watch these teams go back and forth. It was a lot of fun to watch, of course, the Nurse gameplay, everyone coming in. Honestly, this was a lot of fun. I don't get to see a lot of Cenobite be played because it's almost always banned.
Yeah, no, exactly. But it was exciting to see another set 3. The good news is we're going to be jumping right on into our final match of the day here in just a few moments. So with that being said, thank you all for joining us here today. And once again, congratulations to Infinity, walking away victorious here in round 4. GG's well plays to Aeternum for an amazing, amazing set of matches, or matches including sets. Anyways,